Yeah. What's up, man? What's cracking, everybody? It's your STL back at it again with another reaction. We're gonna do the story of Boss Trell, aka Max Payne from STL EBT, man. I be watching a lot of these Chicago videos, bro, because I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's just entertaining, you know what I'm saying? It's fucked up that they get unalived and the sad things that happen over there, but everybody's posting it, so all we do is watch it, bro. And then ever since King Von and FBG Duck, people have been paying more attention. And not just them two, bro. They're like the main figurehead because of their rapping shit. But yeah, man, this is a story of Boss Trail. I know you guys been watching a lot of these videos too, man. So we all hear about Boss Trail, but I never even knew there was a story about him. So that's why I had to click on this one and we gonna watch it, man. Because you got stories of 051, yeah, Melly. Rest in peace to Bezu. We got Bezu now. Dirk, Little Reese. Who else? Duck. Number of videos with different people, and this is the Boss Trail one, man. So before we get started, y'all already know, man, I'm gonna hit y'all with my intro. Go grab your food, your drink, your smoke, whatever y'all like to do when y'all watching these videos. Go ahead and get that ready, and then we'll get into it, man. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, man. Let's get up to that 2K, alright? Peace. Well, peace. What the fuck I say peace for? We're gonna get to that 2K, and yeah, let's keep it growing, man. Right back. Don't go nowhere.
It's your ass.
Alright, man. So Boss Trail, Max Payne. The main thing that comes to mind when they say Boss Trail, he had that laser and he unalived somebody from across the street with that laser, man. So let's see what they gotta say about Boss Trail, man. Rest in peace to him too, man, because a lot of these youngsters are gone, man. A lot of them are gone.
People used to come
Sad.
shooting at us every day. And
At a young age too, bro.
Words can't even explain, man. Can't even explain.
Yeah, man.
Little School Valley, 051, Young Money.
Young Money, man. They in the building.
051 Melly was a beast, man. He was a real team, man.
OC2 boys, man.
Rondo, number 9, man. Number 9 shooter, you hear me?
Rondo, LA, Lil JoJo. All these youngsters are gone, man. That's crazy, man. King, was that
You
Lil
have
J?
to be willing to die or go to jail for 100 years
Alright,
if that's
okay.
the lane that you're stepping in. You have to understand that whether you 15,
Herbo.
16, you got to think like a man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So don't be in it. Oh, you're not? Why does everybody say you're only 16 years
They
old?
say what they want to say.
how old
So
are
how
you?
old are you?
300.
The story of Boss Trell. This is the story of Boss Trell from STL/EBT, a very well-known shooter and killer who was shot and killed early in the drill war. Despite being killed in late 2012, he managed to put in a lot of work and was regarded as one of STL's top killers. Enjoy.
Rest in peace to him, man. Rest in peace to all the youngsters that are gone, man.
Boss Trell, whose real name was Rodney Latrell Stewart Wheeler, was born on April 11, 1994, in Chicago, Illinois. Trell actually was not from STL or EBT territory originally, but grew up on
It's crazy though because he was trying to move out of the city, man, and start a new life somewhere, bro. But he should have never mentioned that shit. I think if he would have never mentioned that he was leaving and he wanted to start a new life, he probably wouldn't have got a. If my boy Boss Trail, man, if he would have just kept it hush and not mentioned that he was leaving and going to go live a new life, I mean, they wouldn't have even been rushing to get him. They didn't want him to leave. They wanted to get him. So I feel like he should have never said or posted it that he was leaving and starting a new life, bro. I think he probably would still be here.
low end with his mother, grandmother, Sheila, and his two brothers, Ray and Ronzilla, from a renegade set known as Lofa. Ronzilla, or Ron, BT's oldest brother, has a lot of respect within Lofa and is one of the big homies in their neighborhood. He was locked up from 2012 to 2021 and then got out, but I believe that he's back in there again. He is one of Lofa's hitters. Boss Trell's name on Twitter was, and still is, Free Lofa Ron. Ray from Lofa was also locked up when BT was killed. The The brothers and his grandmother are still
that
alive,
sucks, bro.
but
You
sadly
being
his
locked up
mother
knowing your
passed
brother
away
got
in
killed,
April
bro.
2020,
That
which
shit.
became known after FBG
Man.
Duck's mother posted it.
That's a horrible place to get the news because you can't do shit about it. You don't even look like a killer. You know what I'm saying? You don't look he don't look nothing like a killer, man. But looks are deceiving.
After the projects were torn down on the low end, Trell moved with his grandmother to STL territory at the age of 10, and they lived at the infamous address, 6347 St. Lawrence Avenue. For those who don't know, Boss Trell and his friends made this house the main trap house for STL. Everyone hung out there. Trell had been living with his grandmother from the age of 10 until May 2012. They had a close relationship and, according to her, she never had any trouble with him, which is kind of hard to believe considering Trell's
Man, he was
alleged
18,
body
huh?
count at the time. His grandmother reluctantly let him move back in with his mother that month, but the move was short-lived. BT didn't get along with his mother, so he quickly moved again, this time to live with his girlfriend, La Dorothy Morrison, and her family.
Yo, that's a crazy ass name. La Dorothy. La Dorothy. That's a crazy ass name, bro. La
Around
Dorothy
this
Morrison.
period, BT also stopped going to school because he had become such a big target. He ended up missing the whole vacation period, which his mother didn't care about, but his grandmother did. So he promised her he would
grandmothers,
take
man.
online
Man,
classes
my heart goes out
instead.
to all the grandmothers
We've
because they're
jumped
more moms
slightly
than
ahead in
the
the
actual
timeline
moms.
here, but
My
I
grandmother
wanted
was
to
like my
explain his
mom.
relationship with his mother and grandmother before going back and diving deeper into his street activity.
Rest in peace to KI too, man.
New Eden.
Yo, man, YouTube be having all types of ads, man. Every like 3
Trell
minutes, the ad
tapped a
comes
lot
up.
from that house and was pretty good at it. He could buy many things for himself such as an iPod, multiple PSEs, iPhones, watches, designer clothes, and even his own car. FBG Cash actually mentioned when BT bought his first car in the song Dear Boss Trell, where he rapped, "When you bought your first car, you were in it. Even though it was a lemon, it was yours, you were binnin'." BT was doing well both in the trap house and on the street, which we will come to soon.
That ABG Duck's mama? Is that ABG Duck mama? I ain't gonna lie, bro. His mama, she be, yeah. Man, I remember those PS3s, bro. Remember the PlayStation 1s, Super Nintendos. That's so nice. That white, the white was nice, dog. Strap. I remember those iPods and iPads and those shit was a shit back then, man. He was good for himself too, man. Damn. All that from hustling? My boy was making money, man. Shit. Entrepreneur. Look at that. Pele. That's his. Ooh. He got a Bentley.
Before I dive into the history of STL and EBT and start breaking down all of Boss Trell's bodies, One thing you need to understand is that he was an absolute monster on the streets. He was on the same level as other notorious savages like D-Roy, King Von, Melly, C-Day, and the like. He was in this to win and didn't respect people who didn't share the same mentality, which is why he didn't hang out with most STL members. He felt they weren't as committed and only sat on social media claiming things he was actually behind.
Damn.
The STL members Trell mostly associated with were Duck, Cash, K.I., Butta, Dutchie, Lil B, and Young. Beyond that, he mostly ran with older guys
more
from
of them are
EBT
dead,
and carried
man.
out much of his work alongside Jaro and mob members. Boss Trell was constantly in the field, fearless, allegedly catching multiple people and shooting a dozen others. He was a real hothead, so it's not surprising he was eventually killed early in the war. He was always out in traffic, hunting, or in apartments, making him very difficult to catch. Trell was a major problem for the opposition, to say the least.
I don't steal. I can't. Giving up passes. I never heard that much about Dutchie and Young, bro. Like they were always, I feel like they were always in the background, man. Cause you mentioned all these other people, but you don't hardly see any videos or them being mentioned in any type of songs or anything like that. Even though they're the ones that started, I think FBG, right? Motorola's. My boy Butter locked up right now too. We doing what, 6 years, I think? Rest in peace, Cash. Rest in peace. Yeah, rest in peace. Man, they all gone at a young age too, man.
Before we dive deep into Boss Trell's life, I want to explain the history of STL and EBT and the difference between the two sets. If you look further back in time...
Yo, let me know, man. You know how they got that KI video that she has so many bodies and woo woo woo? Was she really like that? Did she really have that much bodies under her belt? Was she really causing fucking fear in people's heart? Like, or is that just bullshit that these YouTubers made up just to make a video out of her name, man?
Around 2007 to 2009, before STL and EBT became one set, it was actually STL that was the quieter and more chill block out of the two. EBT, on the other hand, was the block with the most killers and did the most damage. For example, Esse, who is from EBT, had multiple bodies. Chicken and Taki are also from EBT. They, along with C-Ball, invented Timp when they killed Ty from 065 Young Money, which later became Timp. This also explains why STL sometimes drops Ys, but not against 051, even though they later started dropping Ys against 051 after the murder of Duck. Blink is also from EBT. He was the one who drew the first blood between STL/EBT and Week City when he killed Fella in 2007, who was both the brother of Big Mike from Week City and Wooski from STL.
If they're not deceased, they're locked up, man. Youngsters is crazy nowadays, man. This world is dangerous, man. Face. What kind of name is that? Face. Takis?
Around 2007 to 2009, STL was mainly into it with the Young Money blocks. EBT was also deeply into it with Young Money, but their primary beef was with Week City and Zone 7. C-Ball.
That's crazy. They were into it with STL, EBT were into it with Young Money because wasn't 051 Melly? He was like close with Duck, going to hangouts with him and shit. Like I seen a couple of videos where Melly was hanging out with Duck, and they had what's his name? Can't Get Right, like dropping the whatever in front of him and gave him that crazy ass stare.
Who was the head of STL and had strong ties with EBT, helped bring STL and EBT closer, which eventually led STL to get involved in the conflict with Week City as well. C-Ball was, among others, the brother of both Lil Mark from 051 and Tuka from STL. Their father, Shondale Gregory SR, also known as Big Sko, had 14 children in total. Woo! One of them was Lil Sko from EBT. Shondale SR was shot and killed outside his apartment in Parkway Gardens, also known as O Block, where he lived. 4 people followed him as he was on his way into his building, and he was shot in the chest. He managed to make it into the apartment but died of his injuries before calling for help. It's possible that Lil Sko had visited him several times and may have received inside information about where members of O Block were, which could have contributed to the motive for the killing. Although it's unclear who killed Shondale SR, there is much to suggest it was individuals from O Block. C-Ball taught his younger brother, Tuka, how to shoot.
Damn. I thought Tuka wasn't like that. That's what, I remember correctly, they were saying that he was just happy, go getting, smoking, getting females, fighting.
Before EBT and STL officially became one set, EBT was part of an alliance that few people know about. It was an alliance between all the Eberhardt blocks from 62nd to about 72nd, similar to the SKD alliance back in the day. E-Block was also part of this alliance. This was during a time when alliances were a trend, before many new sets and subsets started to emerge. When the alliance faded and EBT merged with STL in 2009, EBT remained cool with E-Block, largely thanks to Esse, who kept the connection strong. Esse was the biggest name out of both STL and EBT. He robbed multiple people and shot multiple people, and he also had brothers who were well known in the streets. Chicken, who invented Timb as mentioned earlier, and Wee, who created Chris World / Chris Way after killing Lil Chris from Timb. Wee was later convicted of the murder of 14-year-old Christopher and 2 attempted murders involving a 19-year-old and a 12-year-old connected to the same incident. He is set to be released in 2048. Chicken is still alive but very careful about how he moves. As for Esse, he moved to Minnesota, started a family, and got a job in construction. He is no longer active with STL / EBT. By the way, Timb stands for Ty You're My Brother. YMB also stands for Young Money Boys.
Hopefully, man, since he moved to Minnesota, hopefully he's not out there, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, I'm from whoop, whoop, whoop. I did whoop, 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 you know what I mean? And just stays quiet under the radar and just minds his business, take care of his family, watch his children grow, and etc. You know what I mean? Because a lot of time people that go to new places, they start like, oh shit, all right, there's nothing out here, so I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start, you know what I mean, doing my own little clique, little tight little, you know what I mean? Hopefully, he ain't doing that. Oh, wee.
In 2009, STL was started as a set by Dutchie, C-Ball, and none other than FBG Duck. Some people had called it STL back in the 90s, but for the most part, it was known as Murder Town at that time. Around 2009, when STL was formed, many people emigrated from EBT and Jaro territory to STL. People like KI and FBG Buddha came from Jaro territory and later moved to STL, while people like Lil P, Dutchie, and GI Joe came from EBT territory. Duck played a major role in building STL. For example, he was the one who brought Lil J around STL around 2010. He met Lil J through Kels and Rose, who were both younger brothers of Lil 4. He recruited many members, including Billionaire Black, who originally came from Jaro, later became part of Welch World, and eventually joined STL.
Come on now. Be nice
These
to me.
ads is killing me, bro, but I ain't trying to pay that fucking
1,000 times
$5 extra.
Back in 2009 to 2010, when STL/EBT and Weak City first started beefing, it mostly ended in fights between guys from both sides. STL and EBT used to pull up to Parkway to fight all the time, even after school and out on the streets.
There was a good day when you
Trell was
used your
very
fist.
active in these fights and was always present, which made him
So who took the first shot with a weapon? Because like they said, they used to fight all the time. So who was the first? Which side started using the pew pew pews and made that shit go the way that it went? You feel me? Which side did it?
a familiar face to Weak City already by 2009. This was also the period when Timb and Weak City were actually cool with each other and even went on multiple hits together, which made STL feel some type of way. EBT was actually the set that torched Timb at the beginning of the war. Like I mentioned earlier, the three brothers, Esse, Chicken, and Wee terrorized Timb. In 2009, Chicken killed Ty from Young Money Boys, who later inspired the name Timb in his memory. In 2010, Wee killed Lil Chris from Timb, which later led to the creation of Chris World, Chris Way. After these three murders, Timb started sliding back on STL and EBT to get revenge. The following year, Timb and O'Block scored on STL, a score that would spark years of war, years of killing, non-stop mocking from the BDs, the birth of a new ruthless generation of young savages, the rise of the BDK movement, and eventually lead to Boss Trell becoming a full-blown shooter and killer.
Where the fuck, ain't this Young Money? Where the fuck Young Money at?
Man, them niggas is putting the fuck up.
What's this?
We ain't about this action, man. We is out here, man. Standing on y'all corner, man. What the fuck y'all
TYMB. Fuck TY, man. GDN. TYM. Man, these niggas some hoes, man. Cottage Grove.
back towards the land?
Man, I'm back towards the S, man.
Back towards the S, man. We be
fuck?
walking, man.
Niggas be at, man.
Chris World, we on feet. We ain't on
Boss Trell, man.
G, man.
He out here,
Out
man.
here.
The 12th of January 2011 was the day Chicago's South Side gang war would change forever. Shondale Gregory Jr., known as Tuka, was standing at a bus stop on the 600 block of East 63rd Street. Tim was out sliding in the area, looking to score. They drove past the bus stop where Tuka and two others were waiting for a westbound 63rd Street bus. One of the two guys with him was Tutu. When the dark-colored van drove past, several rumors began to circulate about who was actually on that hit. The brothers Cortez and Courtney have always been singled out as the shooters. Some also believe Manny, Obama, and Face from Tim were there. Then there are people like FBG Buddha who claim that OD was one of the killers. I personally believe it was both Tim and OD involved in that hit. According to the witness report, The witness stated he observed two men having a conversation at the bus stop at 63rd and St. Lawrence. He then observed a black male wearing a black hood pull a silver handgun from his waistband and shoot the victim one time. Tuka fell to the ground.
Well, didn't OD have a gun that he preferred, the silver revolver? That could be the one you're talking about, right? A silver pistol? That's the one that's supposedly OD carried around.
And the offender stood over him and shot him 3 additional times with a long-barreled silver revolver. The offender then fled northbound on St. Lawrence and entered the back door of a powder blue Chevy Malibu.
They were not playing. How you gonna stand on top of somebody and just pew 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 a few more times? And it's crazy because all the videos that I've seen, and the one that was even crazy was the shooter shells, man. They say they shot him like what? Between 18 and 20 some shots, face shots with a assault rifle, man. Just no soul, bro. How could you just shoot people in the face like that, man? Not even give a damn. That shit wild, bro.
Another witness stated that before Tuka was shot, the offender asked if a bus was coming. The witness also claimed Tuka was a member of STL and that they were at war with the Young Money Boys from 67th and Cottage Grove, which is temp. The offender was also said to have a light brown complexion. All of these statements line up perfectly with OD from Wick City. He was known for having that long-barreled silver revolver, had a light brown complexion, and Butta has implied it was OD who did it. However, both the witness report and Louis from a block implied it was Tim who did it. Which version is true is unknown. OD could have been present and simply given his weapon to someone else in the car.
Why he crying, bro? Why he crying? You know he fucked up.
I'm the big smoke and the little drink. The L's just the trick and the thumb finger. What you know? What you know about?
Nah. My boy smoking the hell out of that roach.
See, me personally, I'm the shit
My boy
like
fucked
fast
up.
food. I wouldn't try, dude. I'm tired of you niggas thinking you hotter than me. I'll pop you and flee. Actually, mentality. Swag on the rooftop. Delete that shit, man.
My boy is fucked up.
On July 17, 2011, only a couple of months after Tuka's death, Baldy was killed, marking 600's first loss in their history. There are two main theories about who killed Baldy, and it's really impossible to know which one is true, as it depends on the accuracy of certain people's statements. Baldy, whose real name was Marcus London, was out on the block with Buka and Breezy from 600 on the 6000 block of South Prairie Avenue. Two men pulled up and shot Baldy in the head. Breezy, who was standing in front of Baldy, said one of the bullets hit one of his dreadlocks. Buka, who tried to shoot back, accidentally shot himself in the ankle. Tragically, Baldy was later pronounced dead at the hospital. I will now go through both theories, and you can decide which one you believe. There are two different theories about who killed Baldy. Either it was Mob or STL. And the person from STL who has been mentioned as a possible suspect is none other than Boss Trell. The first theory, the one that has been around the longest, is that Mob killed Baldy.
Breezy.
When it comes to the mob theory, there has long been speculation that Domo and Cleon from Mob killed Baldy. However, 600 Breezy, who was actually present when Baldy was murdered and got a good look at the shooters, has long stated that Baldy's killer is dead. He claimed this as early as 2014. Neither Domo nor Cleon is dead. Domo is currently serving life in prison for killing Pyro from 800, and Cleon is serving 16 years for aggravated discharge of a firearm, with parole eligibility in 2026. While much depends on whether 600 Breezy is telling the truth, it seems likely that both can be ruled out. Others from Mob who have been linked to the murder are Scrap, Bebe, Mano, and Beans. In 2012, and Drilla from 051 gave Mob a shout-out for killing Baldy by tweeting, "Shout-out Mob for making it Baldy World," and in 2014, Cap FCK12 tweeted, "And you know for Baldy we will never stop, F Mob." Out of the Mob members, Scrap and Mano make the most sense as suspects. Scrap posted countless tweets mocking both Baldy and his other victim, Lil Steve, often in the same posts. For example, he tweeted, "You better duck your DACA like Baldy tried to," and, "They know Mob made Baldy World." These are just two of over a dozen tweets from Scrap mocking Baldy. Both Mano and Scrap also received shoutouts 2 years later in a tweet that read, "He Mob, they made Baldy World." In addition to all this self-snitching, 600 shifted their focus to Mob after the murder. They were constantly back and forth online, trading insults and threats. Nut from Mob shot at and chased Boss Moo in December 2012. C-Day shot Mano in 2013, which he bragged about extensively on Twitter in iconic conversations with Mano. Scrap was later killed in the summer of 2014, allegedly by...
Man, that's crazy, bro. Somebody gets dropped, they make fun of them, and then that person that was making fun of them gets dropped, and then the cycle doesn't end. They make fun, they get unalived. And then the person that unalives them, they start mocking, and then that person gets unalived. It's just like a revolving thing that's going on, bro. Like, shit.
600, although some believe he was killed by Shields and not 600 Block.
Chicago crazy, man. All these kids is youngsters, bro.
When it comes to the STL theory, the evidence pointing to STL/EBT being behind Baldy's murder is much more vague. Those from STL/EBT rumored to be involved include Main, Lil B, and Boss Trell. Main was pointed out by OD's mother as her son's killer, and according to the police report from OD's murder, the same gun that killed OD was reportedly used in Baldy's murder a month earlier. However, many people have been named as OD's killers in police reports, which is why the truth may never come out. It is buried in lies. K.I., Boss Trell, and Main have all been singled out as OD's killers, which is why Boss Trell and Main have also been linked to Baldy's murder, even though most people say Mob was behind it. Since Mob was also involved in OD's murder, it's difficult to know who actually held the gun that was used in both murders. Scrap and Beans have also been rumored to be involved in OD's murder, which is why Ruga from Mob rapped, "They do not even know who made the OSTL" was notorious for claiming murders they themselves were not behind, including some for which EBT or Mob were responsible. Another factor is that guns are passed around like candy in the hood. People buy them, take them, or give them away, often with prior crimes linked to them. This makes it nearly impossible.
That's crazy, bro. You get a gun from somebody and it has a body you don't even know. You get pulled over, they get that gun, they do ballistics, and you're pinned for that shit. That shit's crazy.
Connect a specific weapon to a specific person. I have now explained both theories to you, and it's up to you to decide which one you believe. Of
That was a
course,
long-ass
there's also
theory.
the theory that both
That's a
STL
long-ass
slash
theory.
EBT and mob were behind the murder, similar to what happened with OD. This is probably the theory I lean toward, that it was main from STL and scrap from mob. Another possibility is that it was only mob, scrap and Mano. As I said, you get to choose which theory to believe. The vast majority believe mob invented Baldy World, even 600 themselves, although some have claimed they are DLs for Baldy World, which points to STL. KI also tweeted, "We made Baldy World," but as I mentioned, STL, and especially KI, was notorious for claiming murders they weren't actually behind. Only 5 days after the Baldy murder, another killing occurred, this time one in which STL was behind it, and Boss Trell was possibly one of the suspects. The murder in question is that of Key from 650 Dipset. Key, whose real name was Marquis Strong, was found shot in the chest in the 500 block of East 65th Street, according to authorities at the time. He was tragically pronounced dead at John H. Stroger Hospital of Cook County just 45 minutes later.
Man, Stroger's hospital, bro. They got every video that I've seen. They always mention that hospital, like pronounced dead at Stroger's hospital, bro. That hospital's seen so many bodies. I think, man, when like in 20, 30 years from now, it's gonna be a haunted ass place, man. All the deaths that happened in that damn hospital. They never survived there, man. They gotta go to different hospitals. Unless the hospital just don't give a damn and just like, yeah, he gone, bro. We ain't gonna try to save him.
Main from STL was later arrested for this murder, and according to the police report, Boss Trell would also have been arrested in January 2013 had he not already been killed by that time. The police report goes into extensive detail about what happened, although many of the names are redacted. Based on the report, the incident started when Main got into a dispute with someone over buying weed. He wanted to fight the individual, and Key intervened because he was a friend of another person present. Main then asked who Key was and started fighting him instead. During this altercation, Main pulled out a gun and pistol whipped Key in the jaw. When he attempted to strike him again, Key ducked under the gun, causing it to discharge. The bullet struck Key in the chest. While Boss Trell was not the gunman in this murder, he was allegedly present at the scene. Because of this, police were looking to interview him in connection with the incident before they learned he had already been killed.
Damn.
Main was later sentenced to 60 years in prison for the murder, but he eventually appealed the conviction and had his charge reduced from first-degree murder to second-degree murder. As a result, he was released on parole in 2023. Now we come to an unconfirmed rumor with very limited information behind it. According to Street Talk, Boss Trell and Dutchie from STL were allegedly involved in the killing of a guy named Juicy from MetLife, who was also affiliated with Wick City. Juicy was reportedly killed sometime in 2011, either before or shortly after OD from Wick City was murdered. As stated, this is not confirmed by any official source, but I still wanted to include it as part of the narrative. On the 10th of August 2011, the war between STL/EBT and Wick City escalated and worsened forever. As I mentioned, STL/EBT, Jaro, and Mob were out in big numbers. People like King Lil J, Boss Trell, KI, FBG Buddha, Wooski, Dutchie, Lil B, and FBG Duck from STL/EBT, Tutu and Lil P from Jaro, and Beans and Scrap from Mob all went to Parkway Gardens, looking to either fight or score. They spotted none other than O.D. Perry, one of Wick City's top members at the time. O.D. was on his bike in the 400 block of East 64th Street when they saw him. 2 or 3 shooters ran up and shot him. One bullet hit his buttock, and another entered his neck and exited through his left shoulder. O.D. fell off his bike, and the members from JARO, STL/EBT, and mob fled the scene, both in cars and on foot. O.D. was taken to Strodger Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 12:18 a.m. Thursday. Wick City would later rename their block O Block in O.D.'s honor, just as STL/EBT named their block Tukaville to honor their fallen member Tuka.
They live like literally down the street from each other, man.
O.D. was an important front figure for Wick City and was huge score for the opposition. Coming from Buff City and already having his own guns, he had been shot at before, taken licks, and fired at people. He once shot at Gotti from Ragtown after they came through Buff City. O.D. also taught several younger Wick City members how to slide and rob people. King Von even referenced him in his song Pull Up. O told me when I go sliding show no mercy. O.D. was incredibly important for Wick City. He was killed by STL/EBT and mob, though countless names have been mentioned: K.I., Butta, Boss Trell, Scrap, and Beans. We will probably never know exactly who pulled the trigger, as the truth is buried under lies in police documents. Everything, however, suggests that Boss Trell was at least present, as he was even listed as a possible suspect by police. This made O.D.'s murder the third murder investigation Boss Trell was involved in within just a few months, and he was only 16 years old at the time. Boss Trell was truly a menace, a shooter that Wick City was genuinely scared of.
Meet Gym Monster 2, your all-in-one smart home gym. Set it up anywhere, no limits, no installation.
Now we have come to another murder that Boss Trell was either present for or even involved in 2011. By the way, this is his 5th alleged involvement in a murder, still all within the same year, and still at only 16 years old. 2011 was the year the war truly exploded, especially between JARO City, mob, and sets like 600 and O Block. In 2009 to 2010, it had mostly been shootouts and back and forth altercations, but in 2011, the bodies officially started dropping. Mob, in particular, was relentless. They constantly applied pressure on 600, to the point where some 600 members reportedly didn't even want to slide on mob because of how quickly they retaliated. That summer, OB 600 had it rough, with STL/EBT and mob consistently out hunting. Interestingly, while mob and STL were causing havoc, the situation between 600 and JARO City remained relatively calm during that same period. There was a reason for that. In early summer 2011, 600 and JARO City agreed to a truce, not because 600 had given JARO hell as some claimed, but due to a serious shootout between 50 Shot and Lil Boo in which multiple bullets struck a school bus. On top of that, police had already taken clear notice of the ongoing war and were reportedly preparing a RICO case against both sides. That looming threat alone forced the truce to be honored for several months. But peace didn't mean respect. Members from both sides still got into fights and robberies. The only rule was no shooting. During this time, 600's D-Thang, known for being reckless and unpredictable, would ride his bike through Jaro's territory just to scare members and watch them run, even though he had no intention of violating the truce by opening fire. Still, he robbed a few members, including King Lil J, and he even took DB's shirt. His passive-aggressive intimidation kept Jaro members constantly uneasy. DB was often walked home by Tutu and Lil Daryl, as they feared D-Thang might eventually cross the line. Once Baldy was killed by Mob in the summer of 2011, 600 shifted their focus fully toward Mob, and D-Thang's name became extremely hot in the streets. Meanwhile, most of the top Jaro members and even the shorties were relatively laid back, and if they were sliding, it was usually Torto Block. However, after enduring D-Thang's bullying and humiliation for months, Dome decided it was time to strike back. By then, he had already taken Boss Trell under his wing. Despite being only 16, Trell was already recognized as a heavy shooter, reportedly often sliding on the Wick, Timbin Zone 7. So when Dome made the decision to move on D-Thang, Trell was fully willing to ride. Dome and Boss Trell allegedly carried out the hit, killing D-Thang, and with him, killing the truce between Jaro City and 600. Dome was later charged and booked for the murder. Years later, in the summer of 2021, Dome reportedly committed suicide in jail. It remains unconfirmed whether Boss Trell himself fired any shots that day, but his presence and involvement have long been believed.
TB, that TB one was crazy too, man. The story of TB.
Only 6 months after Trell's alleged involvement in the murder of D-Thang, his name would be tied to yet another homicide, this time with far less uncertainty surrounding his role. While earlier rumors often left room for speculation about whether he was simply present or actually fired shots, this incident was different. According to those around him, and himself, he was the one that pulled the trigger. It was after this killing that his reputation skyrocketed. Word on the streets began to circulate. Boss Trell wasn't just a young shooter, he was becoming known as the king of hits. At just 16 going on 17, Trell had already created a feared reputation for himself. In late February 2012, it was time. The victim was Sheroid, brother of C murder from a block. What made this murder particularly significant was not just who was killed, but who was believed to have pulled the trigger. Ballistics would later link the same gun used in Sheroid's death to the earlier murder of Jizzle. For a while, many people believed Lil B was the shooter in both cases. He had already been listed as a suspect in Jizzle's death, so people also thought that he was also responsible for Sheroid's murder. However, that rumor is false. We all know who it was, the one who asked if O-Block remembered that red beam. Of course, I'm talking about Boss Trell from STL who shot Sheroid from over 20 feet away, with the bullet hitting him in the head. The shot could be a lucky shot, but Trell was, unlike many other gang members from Chicago, quite good with guns and even uploaded a tutorial on YouTube on how to assemble and reassemble your gun.
Do tutorials on how to clean out guns.
Presumably helped him a bit. Sheroid was rushed to the hospital and was on life support for 4 days before tragically passing away due to his injuries. It's been confirmed multiple times that Sheroid was killed by BT. Skinny, Lil Daryl and Butta have all snitched on him in the police investigation. BT also confided it himself on Twitter when he wrote, I bet O'Block remember that red beam. KI also confirmed it with a tweet which read, Sheroid Squad. BT invented that. There have been countless other members confirming it. For example, a Taekwon member, a couple of months ago, reposted a picture of Sheroid on his story with the caption, Long live Boss Trell. FBG Cash, who was very close to BT, also kind of confirmed it in his song Dear Boss Trell, where he rapped, My mama still miss you, and she thinks you so innocent. But on the low I know she know that you was killing, it was you that made the hood safe. Back to back on them hits, blowing through them gates, now your name ring is the king of hits. I nicknamed you Max Payne cause you never missed. Murder was totally heartbroken after the death of his brother. However, while a life was taken, a new one was born. Just days after his brother's murder, Murder's son was born, and he named him after his late brother. Sheroid had huge love in O'Block and was an original member. He was one of the leaders of the new generation coming up. In his honor, Sheroid Squad was created. Not long after he killed Sheroid, Trell was arrested for assaulting someone. Then, in June 2012, he was hit by a police car while being chased alongside Dutchie. I can't find the article anymore, but if I remember correctly, officers had responded to a call about a group of males trespassing and carrying guns. When they arrived at the location, everyone scattered, but the officers pursued both Trell and Dutchie. During the chase, CPD actually struck Trell with their vehicle and shot Dutchie.
Damn.
Both survived, and Dutchie later filed a lawsuit, which he won in 2016. Around this time, either before or after this incident, Boss Trell was also allegedly shot by Temp. From this point on, Boss Trell's life started spiraling downward. Every move he made put him in deeper danger, and more gangs were closing in on him.
They really wanted him, huh?
Both O'Block and 600 were desperate to get their hands on Boss Trell following the murders of Sheroid and D-Thang. Trell wasn't just rumored to be connected, he was believed to have actually been present during the D-Thang hit, and some even claimed he personally fired shots. His name was burning hot, and every enemy set wanted revenge. Boss Trell would soon become one of the most hunted teenagers in Chicago. Yet when he died, he was in the process of trying to escape the same life that had made him notorious. At just 17, Trell was actively planning his way out. He had secured a bus ticket scheduled to depart Chicago on November 10, 2012, heading to Iowa, where two friends had offered him a place to stay and a possible job opportunity. He wanted a reset, a new start, a chance to leave the war behind. To his family and longtime friends, Trell was never supposed to end up like this. They described him as easygoing, goofy, but responsible, a kid who, in their eyes, generally stayed away from serious trouble. About a year before he was killed, Trell warned his grandmother that he had enemies and that she wouldn't understand what he was caught up in. She didn't fully believe him at the time, but Trell knew the danger was closing in.
My boy knew,
His desire
man.
to leave gang life
Sometimes you have a
didn't
feeling
come
when
from
your life's in
nowhere.
danger, you kind
In
of
the
know,
weeks
like
leading
your
up to his
soul's
death,
telling you.
the pressure intensified heavily. First, he was shot at by a group of OB600 members. The following week, he was shot at twice in separate incidents. the first time reportedly by Big A, and the second by King Von. At that point, Trell began to panic for his life. He knew they were at his neck for his alleged role in the murders of Sherwood and D-Thang. He understood that his window to escape was closing fast. Despite the chaos surrounding him, Boss Trell was known to be highly skilled with firearms. He once nearly shot Spoon in the leg by accident at a bus stop, but aside from that close call, he was considered experienced with guns. In fact, he even posted a YouTube tutorial showing how to assemble and disassemble a firearm, further cementing his reputation as a young but advanced shooter. But in the end, none of his knowledge or street presence could protect him from the wave of retaliation he knew was coming. As the bus ticket date approached, so did fate.
This game, you're not ready for it.
Now we have arrived at the death of Boss Trell. Trell was killed in the 2600 block of West 83rd Street. He was gunned down by 2 or 3 shooters, and there are various theories about who murdered him and why, which we will get to shortly. What is fairly well known, however, is that he was set up by his girlfriend. The shooter,
Always
or
the women,
shooters,
dog.
allegedly
They're the
jumped
most
out of a
dangerous
black
people
van,
in the world,
chased Boss Trell down, and shot him multiple times, including once in the head, before running back and jumping into the vehicle. According to the police report, a witness stated that he heard a young man yelling for help while running, and seconds later heard multiple shots being fired. Police found Boss Trell face down in the alley shortly after the shooting, and they also found a gun under his body. He was taken to Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn and was pronounced dead around 11:30 p.m. Thursday, which means the doctors managed to keep him alive for a long time despite the severe injuries. Boss Trell's grandmother also mentioned in an interview that detectives know who did it and that the shooter's identity is not a secret. They just did not have enough proof since no one wanted to witness or cooperate with the police. There are 2 different theories about who killed Boss Trell. One theory says it was Lil Mark from Quiet Money, the brother of Trell's girlfriend who allegedly set him up. There are a few different explanations for why Mark allegedly killed Trell. Either it was a botched robbery or it was over a stolen gun. Lil Mark was also close with both Pocketown and O Block, and considering there were reportedly multiple people on the hit, it wouldn't be surprising if he did it alongside O Block. However, this theory is not confirmed in any way, and nobody credible has come out and verified it. The other theory claims that it was solely O Block behind the murder, and that D. Roy and King Von were the 2 shooters who ran up on BT and gunned him down. FBG Duck's mother, along with other loose affiliates connected to those involved, have stated that King Von and T. Roy did the killing. However, there are also people who deny this theory. What is known is that both Von and T. Roy mocked Trell heavily after the murder. T. Roy tweeted things like, "No Trell, stay alive and die slow." King Von also took to Twitter, writing, "Lol, you aimed a boss to me and don't worry about who killed who and who got killed. You ain't got killed, did you? I was completely broken after Boss Trell was killed, as were others who were close to him." She tweeted, "Browski BT, king of hits and on Tuka, we gon' make BT name ringing." Wooski tweeted, "Tryna catch ya up again." They were clearly devastated. O Block was reportedly shot up several times in the week following the murder. The fact that Trell's grandmother said detectives know who killed him could point to either Lil Mark or T. Roy and King Von, since it was widely known in the area that these individuals were active killers. In the end, you choose what to believe. In summary, Boss Trell died early in the war, but is still, to this day, considered the one from STL/EBT who put in the most work, alongside Lil B and maybe one or two others. I have mentioned 6 bodies in total that he was allegedly involved in: Key, Juicy, Baldy, OD, D-Thang, and Sheroid. 4 of those names are very big names. However, I don't really believe that he was involved in the Baldy hit, but I do believe that he was involved in OD, D-Thang, and Sheroid, and those 3 are huge names, all being leaders and respected members. It's sad for BT and his family if he truly was seeking a way out and hoped to get another chance. But honestly, to be as reckless as BT was, allegedly catching so many main faces and still expecting a way out, that is too much. In the end, he allegedly killed multiple human beings and destroyed many families, and it was only a matter of time before people caught up with him. With that being said, rest in peace, Boss Trell. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe, and may God bless you all. Let me know what you...
Yo, that's facts though, man. Once you want to live somebody, the people that you want to live, they have people that love them, you know what I'm saying, and want to see you not alive no more, you know what I mean? So they're not going to leave you alone, man. You're a target. And he has so many attempted bodies under his belt, so my boy was not going to get left alone, man. They were not going to let him live, and they were definitely not going to let him leave the state, man. But Chicago's every state is crazy, man. But a lot of us see Chicago mostly because that's a lot of videos are about Chicago, the way that they live, the things that they do, the drill music. And a lot of good rappers come out of it, you know what I mean? So we gravitate more towards it because it's more exposure to it. But man, these youngsters, bro, they grew up the way they grew up, man. You are where you do shit because you see it around you so much, so you just become a part of it. But a lot of these people are gone. They're young, like I think 14, 15. They're already having bodies under their belt. They're getting unalive. They're unaliving people. It's a sad thing to see, man. But all we could do is just watch it and be like, man, nod our head and it's crazy, you know? But let me know what you guys think about the video, man. Is there another one that y'all want me to do? I know there's a lot of videos that I want to react to. I just don't know like the name of certain people. But music, whatever y'all want me to react to, man, just hit the comments up. You want to donate to the channel, man, it'll be much appreciated. I'm trying to get better equipment. I'm almost there. I just need a new camera. And yeah, man, hopefully y'all subscribe to the channel and hope y'all like the content. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out what I should dedicate myself to, content that I should be putting out. But I do everything, bro. Music, documentaries, scary, people popping, all that shit, man. But yeah, hit the comments, let me know, subscribe to the channel. Hope y'all enjoyed this shit. Until next week, your homie that Esse. I'm out, man. Stay blessed, and God loves y'all. All right, peace.
Don't think about leaving without hitting the subscribe button.